What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingNews.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. Well, the premier race of the week is actually at Thistledown. That's right. It's that time of year. We're ready for the Ohio Derby coming up here, race 12 on Saturday at Thistledown. I'll put it up on the screen for us now. A field of 10 will line up for this one, going a mile and an eighth, grade 3 event here at Thistledown for the Ohio Derby, and a purse of $500,000. All right, let's go through them one by one here. Pick you a top four here at the end, including the win pick. And we'll kick this thing off with the number one, Chad Allen. Chad Allen coming into this race off three straight second place efforts, second in an allowance on March 27th there at Oaklawn Park, and then went to the Bathhouse Rose Stakes where he was second, beaten a half length, and then to the Texas Derby where he was second, beaten 6 1/4. He really has not threatened, or he did not threaten, I should say, last time out. The other two races, he was close, a neck beaten in that allowance race and then beaten a half length in the Bathhouse Row. What I meant to say is he hasn't really ran, a race that makes you think he can elevate and win the grade 3 Ohio Derby. If you were going to see a little bit of a sign of that, maybe it would have came in the Texas Derby, where he really just wasn't much of a match for Desert Gate, who is also in this race. So you got to have that in mind as well. So I think he's a little bit on the outside looking in when you talk about the number one, Chad Allen. When you talk about number two, Robusta, so a horse that has been begging and pleading for class relief. This horse has ran in the Santa Anita Derby where he was beaten 16 lengths, the Kentucky Derby where he was beaten 17 and a half, and then in the Preakness where he was beaten 13 1/4. So much too tough for any of those races for Robusta. So needs that drop down in class. 4 races back in the San Felipe, he did get second, only beaten ahead in that race. As easily the career best race for him. And unfortunately, I guess for him, got him a ticket to some of these bigger races where he just quite simply has not belonged. I don't think he belongs in this one. I'll take that back. I think he belongs in this one. I'm still interested in betting him in this one, is how I should have phrased that. He's just not for me in this spot. I think he is just a horse that, he has 1 or 2 really nice races, and the rest of them just haven't been all that good. No interest in me for the number 2, Robusta. Number 3, Chip Honcho. This is a weird one for me. I've never really liked this horse, even though my favorite trainer, at least one of my favorite trainers, Chip Honcho, is trained by, I should say, Steve Asmussen. I still just never really liked him. I never, that the maiden win, his second race of his career, I thought that was okay. We'll see what he does going forward. He did, win the Gun Runner Stakes, a race I didn't really like. Hate to just keep repeating myself. And then the Lecomte, the Risen Star, okay races. Louisiana Derby, not great at all. And then the Preakness, an okay race. I thought he ran pretty well in that one. But overall, I've never been a big fan of him. I do think this is a great spot for him, though. And I think he comes in here with a big shot. Probably, I would say, the deserving favorite based on class. We don't know who the favorite's going to be. I think it's going to be him. But can he actually get the job done? I went back and watched all of his races again. Not that I needed to. I remember him very well, but it just kind of seems to me he's got to, he's going to be most effective on the lead, and he kind of just is a grinded out type. He kind of just runs his race every single time, and if that means he falls on the lead, he gets it. If it means he's in fourth, and he does that, right? But he doesn't have that huge acceleration or really much of acceleration at all. So he's a grinded out type that could work in a race like this, as the class definitely drops here. But man, I don't know, in a short price, I really want to back him in this spot. The number 4 is Trendsetter. Trendsetter coming off of a third place effort in the Peter Pan. He was beaten 5 1/4 by Growth Equity, and he was third behind also Talk to Me Jimmy, and 2 horses that are okay. He won the Lexington 2 races back. He beat the Hell We Did in Corona de Oro. Neither one of them have turned out to be much. Look, I think he's kind of interesting. The price is going to have to be there. I think if he's 8 or 10 to 1, it kind of starts to make a little bit of sense. I don't know that I want him any shorter than that. I don't think he deserves to be any shorter than that. So I'm pretty much on the fence with him. I'm not a huge fan of the number 4 Trendsetter overall. A horse you might want to key in third, I think it's number 5, Ocelli. Of course, most famous for running third in the Kentucky Derby, only beaten a length. That is the standout race out of all of them, though, right? He just kind of is that horse that hits the board. He was fourth in the Preakness. He really never threatened in that race. Where the Kentucky Derby, he actually was ahead at one point in the Kentucky Derby. But like I said, third in the Derby, fourth in the Preakness. I think that's very good. But also, he just kind of seems to be that horse that's, like I said, he's going to hit the board, but perhaps that's the ceiling for him, unfortunately. Wood Memorial, he was third. I thought he ran okay in there. Not the greatest field, but he ran okay. We know what he's going to do. He's going to drop back. He's going to make one run. I think that's going to lead to another third place effort for him, honestly, in this spot. And I guess I've buried the lead. This horse still is a maiden. He is 0 for 8 lifetime. So we'll see if he can kind of get the first win in the Ohio Derby. The number 6 is an all. I don't know that he's going to be running. It would just be a 10-day layoff, as he ran June 10th at Horseshoe Indianapolis. He did win. He won maiden special weight, won by a length that day at Horseshoe Indy, and I thought ran a much improved race. No question about it. So we'll see. But like I said, just 10 days ago, I'm not sure this horse is running in this spot. I would be a little bit surprised. Even if he does, not much of interest for me. The number 7 is Bull by the Horns. Bull by the Horns, a horse that coming out of that Preakness race last time out, he got 6, beaten 9 3/4. Didn't make a whole lot of an impact. 2 races back, he did run well over the synthetic surface, the Rushaway Stakes there at Turfway Park. He won by a half length. He actually beat Trendsetter, who was also in that race. But then 3 races back, you look at the Fountain of Youth, got beat 19 3/4, really not competitive there. His dirt races aren't great. And so I was out on him in the Preakness, and I'm out on him here as well. Not a huge fan of Bull by the Horns. I'm not out on the number 8 Desert Gate. I'm very interested to see what he does. I was actually pretty high on him coming into the year. So if you look at his 2-year-old season, 2 wins in a row to start his career, got second, only beating a length to Brant in a 7-furlong race, the Del Mar Futurity. That's all right. Brant's pretty good at one turn, and at that time was pretty good. And where is Brant, by the way? Anyway, and then stretched out to the American Pharoah, got second, beaten 3/4 of a length. I thought that was okay. Wished he would have won. That would have been better for him, but I thought it was an okay race. Got beat by Intrepido. He didn't turn out to be much, right? And then went to the Robert Lewis, first race of the 3-year-old season. Got fourth, beaten 4 lengths, and didn't run very well there. Got beat by Plutarch, Intrepido, and Secured Freedom. That's 3 horses that, aren't great. Well, we don't know about Plutarch. He got hurt, but the other 2, not great, right? But after that, Desert Gates kind of got it together a little bit. He went to Oaklawn Park March 26th for the Hot Spring Stakes. That was a 1-mile race. That's 2 turns at Oaklawn. Won by 9 3/4 and looked pretty darn good doing it. And then last time out, the Texas Derby, won by 6 1/4 and looked pretty darn good doing it. Flavian Pratt rode him at Oaklawn. Irad Ortiz Jr. rode him at Lone Star. Flavian Pratt back on here at Thistledown for the Ohio Derby. I think he's going to be tough. This horse I was very high on last year, and may have just taken him a little bit of time to develop. I think he's going to be tough in this spot. I like Desert Gate quite a bit coming into this one. The number 9 is Jupiter. Jupiter coming off of a win here locally, an allowance race at Thistledown. Jupiter's able to get the job done by a head. That was a 6-furlong race. Now we'll go to a 1 1/8. This just kind of feels like, hey, let's throw a local horse in there. Not a lot of interest in the number 9 Jupiter. And then finally, the number 10 Albus is back, and I think he is one where we're unsure of who he is, right? So he's a weird one. A couple of races as a 2-year-old were okay, and then he shows up at Tampa, and he wins by 6 3/4 of a length this year in a maiden special weight on February 27th. Ships up to the Wood Memorial and wins again by a length and a quarter. Pretty good effort there for first-time trying winners and stakes company. And then runs in the Kentucky Derby and runs kind of a predictable 15th, right? Just not great. That was way too much too soon. I think we kind of knew that. So who is he? What is his level? I think that's going to be the big question mark here coming into this one. I'm not sure, to be quite honest with you, who he is. I think this is one that I think the Ohio Derby is a perfect spot to try to find out, okay, what are we going to do with him? Can he win here? And maybe we step up, or we keep going maybe to the West Virginia Derby, something like that. Or does he not run that well? And then we kind of regroup. I think that's going to be interesting to see. I think he'll run okay here. I don't think he's awful. I think he'll run okay. Not the horse I have to win in this spot, though. All right. speaking of who I have to win in this spot, I'm going to go number 8, Desert Gate. I'm looking for kind of the new shooter here. It was between, and this is not anything fancy, it was between Desert Gate and Chip Honcho for me. I just kept going back to Desert Gate. I think his upside might be a little bit more. I like that Flavian Pratt gets aboard. So number 8, Desert Gate on top for me. I do have number 3, Chip Honcho in second. Number 5, Oselli in third. And the number 10, Albus in fourth. So I went 8, 3, 5, 10 in this one. It's one of those things. That is a very, very straightforward top 4. A very chalky top 4. I get it and understand it, but they really seem to stand out to me. And really the 3 and the 8 stand out to me for win honors as well. So I'll probably single the number 8 Desert Gate on top and then try to play a couple horses underneath there, and or even try to play it straight 8-3 and see what happens. But 8-3, what did I say? 8-3, 5-10 for me in the Ohio Derby. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for watching this video. Hit that like button if you like it. Subscribe if you really like it. Want to learn anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're betting Thistledown on Saturday.